So what's been going on with COVID in Canada? Now, I live in Ontario and obviously know what's going on there, but I thought let's look at some of the other jurisdictions because it's important to see what other provinces are doing, not just out of curiosity or as a concerned Canadian, but because the way that they're responding sets a legal precedent that could come here or things from Ontario could go to other provinces. Now, I was inspired to make this video by what's happening in Manitoba, and that should be concerning to all Canadians for that reason. And in Manitoba, the government has hired a private security firm, G4S, to boost its enforcement of COVID regulations, and that means that their personnel is going to be handing out tickets by the weekend, according to the Premier. Now, that is really concerning because now you have a private security company basically acting as a police officer or a bylaw enforcement officer. The difference is that when the police comes to do something or a bylaw enforcement officer comes to do something, they have power vested in them in that office because of legislation. There's oversight, there's an appeals process, there's maybe even a complaints department. Things you can do, police sometimes might wear body cams even. When a private security firm is doing this, it's totally unclear what is going to be the appeals process, what training they have, what legal authority they even have to do such things. Now, the Premier was quoted as saying that it's a company that has people who are used to dealing with situations where, let's just say, it's not always pleasant, as opposed to a lot of our government employees that don't have that experience personally. What are you expecting? Are you expecting these people to go and crack some heads? Are they supposed to go and just, pull you out of your car and fine you with a crazy ticket and tell you to shut up? I mean, that is really sketchy, and I am really curious what is going to happen. If you live in Manitoba and you have any additional information on this, or you are equally concerned, please do leave some information in the comments. I do like to read the comments to see what's going on, and it's important to get good feedback. But this is pretty crazy. But this is not the only kind of interesting stuff that I found, and this is obviously the most interesting, but it's not all the only interesting stuff that I found when looking around at the different websites for different provinces. Now, another one in PEI that I thought was interesting was they have sort of 3 tier levels. They've got new normal, caution, and restricted. 2 things interesting I found were, number one, that the fact that they're using new normal. A lot of people, I think, say that colloquially, or they just kind of, using that term new normal. But they're the first ones that I've seen to codify that and to actually put it in there. This is the new normal. The interesting thing, though, is that PEI only had 68 cases, and 65 of them cleared up. So there's 3 active cases. And so you really have to wonder, it's entirely possible that there are cases going on, people who have no symptoms. The virus is still spreading around there. Again, there's some idea of an Atlantic bubble, and there was even a rumor as of me making this video. It's not come out yet officially, but there was a rumor that they might require you to apply to be able to even return to PEI should you leave to go celebrate Christmas somewhere else. But with 3 cases, look, if I lived in PEI, I'd be wondering what's up, why there are so many restrictions. And again, it's just kind of interesting, that debate. New Brunswick nearby, they have a color-coded level, and interesting, they're actually listing a green level, and this is after a vaccine and herd immunity comes into play. And so that's, it's good to see a government looking forward, but the kind of weird or maybe even concerning part is, it says here on the site, all conditions are lifted with the exception of community face masks, so that's the non-medical coverings, which remain required to wear in public when ill. And so is that ill with the sniffles? Like if I have the sniffles, do I have to continue to wear a mask? Is it only ill if I have COVID and everyone has a vaccine? It's not really clear. Some more explanation on that would be interesting. In Ontario, again, where I live, we have a color-coded chart here from prevent, protect, restrict, all the way to control, and finally lockdown. So we're one of the few provinces that actually has lockdown still listed as a possibility of where this thing can go. I think it is a possibility regardless of where you are if cases and deaths start shooting up, which does not look like that's going to be happening, except for the deaths especially. But in Ontario, there's a lot of calls to move to increased controls. I know John Tory, the mayor of Toronto, is looking at having some increased measures. The kind of weird part about that is the seeming logical inconsistency. In the beginning of this pandemic, when there was about 300-400 cases per day, we were in that crazy lockdown. Nobody could go anywhere. Now we have about 1,400 cases per day, and so we're in a far less restrictive mode of being, and that's, maybe it has to do with the death rate. The death rate is obviously far lower, but it's just one of those things that kind of makes you wonder what is up and maybe what makes sense, what doesn't make any sense. Alberta, a lot of interesting stuff going on there. Certain areas that are in the purple zone, so the most heavily affected zones, you're not allowed to do group indoor fitness and no singing or dancing. But I believe I saw on there that you're still allowed weddings, so 50-person limit on weddings and ceremonies, but a 15-person limit to wedding receptions. And so we kind of wonder, if you're going to ban indoor group fitness and group singing and dancing, I guess I can't do that at my wedding, or maybe only the 15 people can. Maybe it doesn't make sense if I can have 15 people dancing at my wedding. Maybe they should be allowed to do a group class. Again, more of these sort of logical inconsistencies that just make people question everything. And overall, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. I think we really need to look past what is going to be happening. Apparently, there's going to be a vaccine coming, and so it's really time to start looking at what that normal, if we're ever going to go back to normal, what that normal or new normal is going to mean. And it's really important to look at the different jurisdictions in Canada. So please, if I haven't mentioned your province, and I obviously missed a whole number of them, but if I haven't mentioned your province, please do let me know in the comments what is going on there. It's always good, again, to know what is going on in different jurisdictions, because they could come here. So for True North, I am Sam Eskenasi. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and have yourselves a great day. Thanks.